Dirt sweep!
Thank you so much for joining us here today at Foam Nation and Pennsylvania Survival Fest 2023. Hope you guys are having a good time so far. If you don't know, my name is Andrew Ceriti. Some people call me Dirt Sweep. And I have a YouTube channel, so if you're interested, please like and subscribe, leave a comment. Today, for this panel, we will be doing a creators panel, basically. So we just want to talk about some of the influencers in the hobby. We have CLOWNIE NERF, Maritime Foam, and Al the Geek. If you don't know, CLOWNIE is a modder creator who's been in the hobby for years at this point. Maritime Foam, who runs a fantastic TikTok and YouTube channel. If you aren't already, please like and subscribe.
King of Shorts!
And Maritime Foam is actually relatively new to the hobby, so you probably have some pretty...
2.5 years in, probably.
And Al the Geek, which many of you know, as a cosplay modder himself, and he just started playing in the hobby as well. So, but yeah, so we hope that we can answer any questions that you have regarding being in the hobby and creating content, if that's something you're interested in. So, first off, I just want everyone to kind of introduce yourself. So we'll start off with CLOWNIE, I guess. CLOWNIE, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
I've been doing this for I don't know how many people are older than I am in this hobby. It's getting less and less every year. Like older as in older doing it and older starting. I've been doing this since Y-Hoppers were like a brand new thing, which was terrifying. You guys probably have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. I could put a list of blasters off that like is completely irrelevant to probably most of you.
We're a hip young panel of influencers. Only the greatest and oldest people to influence you. We're all in the same boat.
I started out in the days of Nerf Haven with NIC, with Blue Domes and Pac-D, if nobody knows who the heck that is, and things like that. So it's I got scars from Drain Blasters, and I watched the hobby evolve into what it is now, which is an opinion I guess we have to save for another panel that nobody's gonna like.
that was a great lead in. We're gonna be a good balance, I think, of where we stand on things. I'm Anthony Stewart. So I have a YouTube channel called Maritime Foam, and TikTok called Maritime Foam, and an Instagram called Maritime Foam. You guessed it. So I kind of started out during COVID times. I kept going by Canadian Tire. I'm Canadian. I was going by Canadian Tire, and it's like a Home Depot type thing with more random stuff in it. And I would see Nerf rival stuff, and I would be like, "Ooh, 14 plus." Well, that sounds more fun because it's for older kids. I'm an older kid, so I got some rival knockouts, and then I started Googling what people do, and then I found out of darts and some of the mods that Luke was doing, and ended up ordering a Jupiter kit, and I'd never soldered anything before. My first Jupiter that I put together, I melted the sides of the Jupiter and expanded it so I could fix my blobby soldering. I literally just like an old king dripping candle wax onto a letter. That's how I soldered that first Jupiter together. Like, what a mess. But I learned a lot, and that definitely got me hooked, and my soldering is slightly better all this time later. So I am fairly new to it. It's been 2.5 years or so. So I'm probably in more, I know, like, I'll be like, this is neat. And like some of the people who've been around longer are like, shut up, it's not neat. It's ruining everything. I'm like, well, okay. So like, a lot of things are new to me, so I'm easily impressed, is what I'm saying. So some of the stuff that CLOWNIE's been doing forever, I'm just like, I've never thought of that. That's cool. And I mean, that's good. That's good too. It's good for new people to come along too. Al, over to you. I would keep going. I gotta stop myself.
Yeah, seriously. Hey everyone, my name is Al. I am Al the Geek.
And yeah, Ray of Sunshine 1 and 2 over here.
You're somewhere in the middle.
I'm sorry. This is a great hobby. Why? Because you can do whatever it is you want to do. If you want to make your blaster hit at 300 FPS, you can do it. If you want to paint a ridiculous color and it barely shoots, you can do it. It doesn't matter. You can show up in tactical gear. You can show up in a big pink bunny suit. This is what's awesome about this. We're just happy you're here. Everyone's glad to see you. Everyone's glad what you brought. And everyone will try to listen to you and answer your questions. Doesn't matter how weird or how geeky you are. Or in my case, if you look like you've been on America's Most Wanted, which has been most of my life, although I've never been arrested. But I can deal with these things, and thank you for accepting me. Anyways, I got into this about 2014. I needed a new hobby. I was doing model ships at that time, and I was getting bored of them. And then I Googled NERF, and then I found, wow, people do these things with these things? I am old enough where we didn't have cool toys like this when I was a kid. We had other stuff, cap guns. Sticks, and stones, and what?
Rocks.
Yes, rocks. Good old rock.
Those rims of metal that you used to stick on, like in the old cartoons.
And then never forget, you always had those adults that tried to get you something for Christmas, and you got a chia pet. Yeah, half of you have no idea what a chia pet is. You know what? I'm thankful that you never have to know that because you're looking at it going, it's a clay pot that grows. What do I need with this? But anyways.
Chia.
No.
My point is being, it's always the most common question I get from a lot of people is like, what do you think I should make? What if I wanted to do this? And here's my thing that I always tell everybody. This is the cardinal rule. Otherwise, if you don't do it like this, it will end in sadness, disappointment, or you just get frustrated. Just make what you want to make. If someone tells you that's wrong, don't listen to them. Just make what you want to make. I make what I want to make. Why? Because it's fun. This brings me joy. Now that I sell them to people, that brings me more joy, but that's not why I got into it. This is a fun hobby, and it's an incredibly creative outlet for me. So that's why I make what I do. And when it comes to a lot of this, it's just like, there are things you can figure out, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, but ultimately, do what you want to do. Like, it's a good example. Most people, if you've seen enough of my stuff, you can tell what's my stuff, because I have a signature. If you look at Clownie's table over there, it is a clear signature that you know what his stuff is. So in a lot of that, this hobby lets you be who you want to be and lets you find your own voice, and it's respected. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to be like Anthony. You don't have to be like Drag. You don't have to be like anybody. Just be yourself. Anyways, now I'm talking too much. But I'm going to move back over to you guys, and again, just happy to be here and thank you, everybody.
More of this, we're not going to need panel.
Yeah, again, my name's Andrew, Dart Sweep. I got into the hobby in 2020, right during the pandemic, of course, as something to keep me occupied. And at the same time, I got into 3D printing, so as many of you know, that kind of goes hand in hand with what we do. But basically, I went to Target one day, found a rival charger, brought it home, started plinking. I was like, oh my gosh, this is way more fun than it has any right to be. Wanted to know if there was any people that actually got together and did Nerf wars, and sure enough, I found a couple groups within the Maryland area, Southern Maryland House of Nerf, who has a booth over there, Maryland Nerf Herders, who is run by Boomstick Mods, which some of you guys may know, and I went to their events, and my first impression was, these are the friendliest people that I have met in my life, and being someone who was on the older side of the people that were attending those events, I was like, if they will let this old, semi-old person have fun with them and participate, this is kind of something I want to be a part of. And it kind of evolved rapidly, quickly, and I ended up starting my own group called DMB Nerfers. And now, between the three groups in Maryland, Southern Maryland House of Nerf, the Maryland Nerf Herders, and DMB Nerfers, we combined our powers and created the Maryland Foam Alliance. So we all work cooperatively together. We have events once a month. And in addition, we attend UMBC's HVZ weekly missions. They do two mini missions a week on Mondays and Thursdays. So we got to know each other really well, and a lot of the UMBC players as well. And then at some point, we had thought about creating our own large-scale event, and we just had our event called Maryland Mayhem back in April, and it turned out to be a pretty fun time, I think, for everyone. So that's me basically.
It draws Canadians from New Brunswick.
That's right.
It draws Canadians from everywhere.
We have a lot of Canadians here today, I feel like. half the panel's Canadian. You got half the A-team, which is the back. So yeah, right. Jeff's looking around. So if you guys are ever in the Maryland area, please come check us out. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and TikTok, and all that fun stuff. But I met Al because he actually hit me up one day on the message and said, I wanted to come to one of your events. I, of course, know Al in the hobby because he's somebody. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, I really like what you guys are doing. I want to come and support you. So he came out and provided some credibility, is what I like to call it, to our little group. So, and then I ended up meeting Anthony Maritime Foam here at NWAR last year, and we all had a great time. And it was a blast, and we've been in chats ever since, having fun. So you guys both attended Maryland Mayhem as well, and then I know CLOWNIE through Josh over the years and everything, and it's been great. So what I want to talk about is maybe you guys can just tell us. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but what drew you to the hobby? What do you love about the hobby? Why do you love it? Talk a little bit about your passion overall in general.
Well, I got into it literally because my cats were messing with my... Is it? Just talk louder.
Can you guys hear the mic?
My cats... Whoa!
There we go.
Hello.
There you go.
My cats were messing with my lizards, and I needed something... It's not a euphemism.
Not only cat.
I needed something to keep them from, starting a fire by knocking my heat lamp off. And I bought a Maverick, and there was this. Yes. I said I was old. I bought a Maverick, a blue one, by the way, and it's because it just came out. And I wanted to see if I could open it. And there was this kid, UNI 13, I think it was, and he was. I'm sitting there looking at this thinking, I'm a older guy, terrified to open this thing up. And here's this, 12-year-old kid, ripping the guts out like some just rabbit fish or something. Just shoving and piping. And I'm like, wow. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can do this. So I just kept Googling, and I found some wars and tapes, some wars that leads to me meeting my buddy Beaker, which unfortunately he's not in the hobby anymore. Everybody should know this guy. It just kind of evolved up from there. It just started going to some events. They started coming in, collecting and hoarding more and more stuff, breaking my first blasters. Like we all know, nothing's more fun than getting the blaster you ordered from Amazon, making the cut, and then really realizing you didn't even get the darts out of the box and you sawed through the section you weren't supposed to.
From my shameful hoarding pile to my broken pile. Is where that goes.
What's the question?
What got you into the hobby? What do you love about it?
You're in the ballpark.
Somewhere. I like coming to this stuff. It's I was an outsider amongst outsiders amongst the outside crowd. I could name the people on one hand that would sit at the lunch table with me, and that's because they were shoved into the lockers left and right of me. There was a time I would fit into a regular locker at school, so that was a thing, and we spent our days getting hammered by the same people, and it made me cynical too. I reclused in, and I ended up I decided at my first war, I'm like, screw this, I'm going for it. I'm like, if people don't like me, I don't have to go back up. It'll be fine. So I just came in and just started being, if you guys ever see anything or listen, I think you should repeat this stuff out of my mouth and things like that in videos. It's what I did. I just went full tilt CLOWNIE, and I'm like, okay, here, I'm an idiot. Oh, look, you're idiots too. Oh, you can teach me something. Nice. And by the end of the day, I was like, I'm coming back for another one because it was nice to be included in something unlike some of the other previous hobbies because I didn't have all the monies to get tons of. I did a lot of MTG, and I did that with leftover cards that people got. You catch so much crap. You've got to play a C-SNID. If anybody knows what it is or know what it is, it's just they're commons and horrible. You catch crap for them because they were free cards. But I never encountered any pushback in this hobby for just being yourself. I mean, it happens, but not here. At least to me so far.
All right. So what kept? Well, I mean, I guess I touched a little bit on what kept me into it. It was buying some stuff because I had started out playing around with using triads and jolts, and I had a Hyperfire. I made a video at one point about how like the Hyperfire almost made me miss Nerf as a hobby altogether because my girlfriend got me a Hyperfire. She's like, oh, we've been having fun playing, having some battles at the house. I loaded up the Hyperfire with its 4C batteries, not really even understanding how voltage worked at that time. I was just like, oh, bigger batteries, that must mean more power. Stupid. It does. More stored power. There is no stupid. You learn as you go, and you learn about voltage, and you learn about capacity. But anyway, I put in the 4 batteries, and it was so lethargic as it just sadly popped out those darts. I was like, oh, this looks cool, but it's not very fun. And I went back to using triads and other stuff. And I didn't really do anything for a while until I got that knockout. And then until I started watching other videos, and then started looking at voltage mods and looking at, kind of went like a weird opposite path, where I got into LiPo, and then went kind of full circle back to more, and I like LiPo mods, but I also really like more mid-tier mods these days. Like, I like mods that take a blaster that comes from the store, like the double punch, I shouldn't gesture with the mic hand. The double punch that I brought with its stock Nerf performance, it shoots darts about 65 feet per second, and it's fine, but with 2 more batteries, with 6 AA's, it shoots them in the 90s. And I really enjoyed taking blasters like the Hyperfire and modding that to either 9 volt or 9.6 volt, like the rival Percy's. Lots of people know that blaster. A lot of people think it's a great rival blaster. A lot of the reason it's great is because it has more power off of a store shelf, and that's not typical for Nerf. Like I thought for a while that, and not that, a Dart Zone, Adventure Force stuff, I thought it was designed so much better. I mean, we could get into that, but a lot of the advantage it has is that stuff came with more power. It had 6 batteries in it, so I'm going off like a power segue, but I just got interested in what makes these a little bit more fun. It doesn't all have to be, especially for like inclusiveness too, for like, because I get a lot of kids asking about mods. I get a lot of people who are doing their first mod. LiPos aren't always the first thing you should hop into. So doing these kind of mods to take blasters up to 100 feet per second, that's a lot friendlier. It's still really family friendly. It's still kid friendly. I don't know. I just got interested in all the things you can do, like all the different levels of play too, from that high FPS stuff to HVZ, coming to an event, meeting people, doing an event with people. That was really kind of addictive too. I guess my problem is I like all aspects. I really like making videos. I really like modding. I really like plinking. I really like coming to events. I like doing all the things. That means I don't do any of them incredibly well.
You like making your friends join a team and then compete competitively.
I do. I see something like a competitive competition and think, I'm terrible. No team would have me. Oh, but what if I formed a team of terrible people? They wouldn't be able to kick me off. And then it turned out that most people were still better than me, so I don't know that I'll make it next year. But I did have my moment. And you know what? That's another cool thing about the inclusivity of things. We had that team in the tournament with, there's some people here who are very good players who are on teams, and everyone was very nice. Everyone was very encouraging. Nobody that I heard was he's like, what are these jerks doing burning up our time slot on the field? Maybe they were, but everyone was very nice and encouraging. And that goes for a lot of things. Like, I come all this way And Al's offered to have me stay at his place. I didn't know Al before doing this stuff. He kind of we kind of bonded at Enmore because we were like, we'll have the young fast people protect us. And Andrew as well. Like I really more got to know him from Enmore, and then a bit more from chatting, and then going to Maryland Mayhem, which was an awesome event. If you weren't there, I feel like that's one of the best travel bangs for your buck that you could get with like a tournament, a full day HBZ, and if you guys do the day of fun games on a Sunday, that was an awesome event. I traveled 19 hours with my friend Matt to go to that, but it was well worth it. And I dragged my friend with me, he's not as into it as me, but he really likes the competitive side of things more probably, and he's up for coming again. So once you get a taste of an actual live event, that becomes addictive too. All over the place. Handing it over to you, Al. A lesson I will give about content creation later, if anyone else lesson, not how douchey. A note that I will give about content creation would be, shorter is always better. And I don't do that very well in real life, but in editing, I'm a bit better at it.
Yeah. So again, I touched upon, what was the question again?
We need some younger people on this panel.
I know, seriously.
Who are you?
Well, like, when I first started, again, for me, I just thought it was cool to have things like that, and I never played in any of it. And it was funny, because I started making blasters, and trust me, the first many were epic fails. But that's the best thing about anything. It's how you learn. You fail, you learn from it, you try again, and you do it. If you like it, you learn, and you really do some great stuff. But when I started finally figuring it out, I had about 10 or 12 large, like long strikes, long shots with super long barrels lined up in the basement. We actually had like a cable guy come down to the basement. My wife's looking at the guy. He's looking at my wife like, we're not in the militia, they're toys. So she looks at me and says, what are we doing with these? I said, I just like making them. You play with them? No. So I'm going to make more. And then do what? So in happy marriage, if you have a hobby and you actually sell the stuff you make, your wife becomes super happy and super supportive that she's now my brand manager. And she's like, yeah, go to Pennsylvania, have fun. So this worked out very well. So if your partner is not maybe huge in Nerf, make it a way that he or she really appreciates it. Your life becomes so much easier and so much better and so much more fun.
What you should to the spa on Saturday, you'll thank me later.
That's right.
What you shouldn't do is you should not take their stuff, put it in totes, and then move it to another room so you have more room for your stuff without having a conversation. Hypothetically.
I'm curious, how do you know?
Allegedly, it was on Reddit. Come on, man.
A hypothetical scenario.
I'm not married even. I know it's a bad.
That's right. But then, so for me,
I needed room for my 5 mega thunderbolts, okay? Leave me alone.
That's okay, that's funny. So then for me, then at some point, as much fun as I had making, I figured, you know what, maybe I'll finally try playing this, but at the same time I felt weird, because again, it's the, who's the big old guy that's going to show up and my knee hurts and this should be good, right? So then that's when I actually went out to that one and then realized maybe I should have started playing this so much earlier. But at the same time, that's the best part about it. You can be either or you can be both, and that's why I love it. And again, like I said, I am very well aware of the way I look like. And if I'm not smiling, I've had people my whole life tell me if I saw you in an alley, I'd throw you my wallet and run. So here I am showing up in a field with a bunch of my blasters that look like assault rifles. Hey, can I play? What the hell is that guy, man? So...
Just turn off the microphone you're not using, it'll stop feedback.
Oh, this is on now.
Potentially.
We'll find out.
Off now.
Using your head now. So yeah, like I said, the community, everyone's very accepting of whatever it is you want to be. And even if you're super weird, don't worry about it. Guaranteed there's someone that's going to be weirder than you. You're working on it? Yeah, there we go. There's Canadians. Who let them in here?
Yeah, so it definitely sounds like the inclusivity of everything within the hobby is kind of the running theme for all of us, I guess.
Oh, that was so much shorter than what we all did. That's good.
So I just want to talk a little bit about being a content creator in general, whether it be on Facebook and Instagram and having posts on the regular or a YouTube channel.
should we stop and do just a couple questions and then go back?
Yeah, we can do that, yeah. Are there any questions that anyone wants to ask before we... Don't be shy.
Question, don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be shy. They're all friendly. What's your favorite blaster?
This thing right now, man.
I was going to ask what your favorite build was.
There you go.
Mine?
My favorite build, all of you. But another one.
What is your favorite build?
I got one. So again, you always get people telling you, you should do this. You should do this. You should do this. No, you got to do this. And you got to smile and realize people are just very excited. They're not trying to boss you around. So it's just like, and sometimes you get some great inspiration. So one day I made the mistake. I looked at my wife. I said, why don't you give me an idea? Everyone else gives me ideas, but you give me no idea. And so what does she do?
Did you phrase it like that?
A little more polite, but at the same time, she got it. And so what does she do? Knowing I like doing master keys, she pulls a sling fire and a vagabond and said, you should combine these two. This will be easy.
Like, are you actually hard?
Can you pick anything more difficult? But it's going to look so cool. I know you can do it. So that first 2 days, man, I was not happy. I'm wondering why I opened my mouth and thinking maybe I should just set this on fire and blame something else and, I don't know, this will fail. But then as a result of it, like many times in life, you always have people that know how to push you in a direction and make you think you're capable of more than you actually think you can. And as a result of it, once I finally figured it out, holy cow, I freaking love that thing. Even though it's a sling fire, I can't modify it, but it looks straight out of like an apocalyptic nightmare. It took me 35 hours and I love the damn thing. And I thanked her for it after, but explained for the first 2 days I was not very happy with it.
Oh, favorites.
Holding it.
Favorites are hard. No, I mean that would be too cliche to say that. I actually think my favorite build, and I've said this to people before, they're like, I haven't heard that before. I think probably building a Jupiter kit from out of darts, just because that was the first thing that was like a hobby grade thing that I built. Other than that, I'd done some mods to knockouts, but I kind of like that's how I learned to solder. That's how I like, and I was building this, and this is why I also say that anyone can learn to do this stuff. People will be like, oh, I don't know how. I'm like, I knew nothing. I followed the build guide. I didn't fully understand how switches work. Like like on switches, there's common, normally closed, normally open. All Greek to me at the time when I was going through that. I just made sure I did it like it was in the video. But with doing things and with doing things wrong comes understanding. As you understand, it's like, oh, I'm all done. And then you load a mag and you've wired the flywheels backwards. You're like, oh, so that leads into learning about polarity of things and why that happens. And then you wire a switch and you plug it in and it just starts going. You're like, oh, well then you learn that, normally closed means it's normally a closed circuit. Unless you You just learning by doing. So I'm very fond of the Jupiter because I learned a lot. I don't think there's anything. I think a kit is a really great way for, I'm not shilling for anyone in particular. I think any kit is a good way to learn. I like ordering from hobby shops. Over time, I want to support hobby shops. There are some things that I do eventually order like in bulk from other places because my modding needs are higher than they should be. But if you order from a hobby shop, generally that comes with a lot of really great support, and you're getting the right amp of switch. I'm talking all about flywheel stuff because that's what I like most. It doesn't matter. It applies to springs or whatever, but just ordering from hobby shops, asking questions. I don't know. I'm a long way from my favorite build, but I think I like it all. It's nice to make things. Like I have a lot of things that it's very satisfying the first time you also make something. So the Jupiter is a kit, and it's really like it has switch plates, and like the switches fit nicely in the plate, and you're like, ooh, I feel so cool. And it's easier. It's also really fun when you start doing a mod and you're putting in epoxy and you're making your own switch plate, and you like grind off a little piece of like a knockout piece of metal from a catch, and you use it to hold the switch, and then you glue it in place. Then that feels cool. Like, the more you do, the more understanding there is. I'm terrible at answering what my favorite build is. The Jupiter. That's all for me.
The long and short answer is, I think it's kind of the same thing for all of us. It's like whatever you just finished. It's pretty much like the love of your life until you move on to the next blaster, because you can't stop fiddling or playing with it. But you got to kind of go like the one that kind of makes you laugh or all the time. I'm really like, I'd probably have to go with the rum page, my Canon integration. It's some ball popper thing that shot, which unfortunately doesn't shoot the balls anymore. It's just a ham. Which do I need to explain ham? Anybody? It's just a blaster. And I took a Zuru Zuru crossbow that I had bought from Ross's that the guy dropped in front of me and broke it, and then I couldn't return it because it was on clearance. It's like, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's not. I used the sting on that and stuffed it in an air tank. And every time I start playing with the thing, I can't help but like laugh and start screaming pirate crap, because it's just so much fun to just get out, just yell something, and then pop, hit the button on the top of the thing and send a dart whizzing across the field.
Everybody needs a cannon, man.
Everybody needs a cannon. Everybody needs one.
For me, just really shortly, it's probably like your first love. So for me, it was my first build, which was a Caliburn, because it ended up working. I was like, oh, I did something. And also probably the Nexus Pro when that came out, because it was a simple barrel swap to brass barrel, and that worked. And I was like, oh, I did something. So very simple answer. Caliburn and Nexus Pro were probably my favorite builds, just for the fact that they work and they were simple. And everything else I've done does not. So I just want to talk a little bit about content creation in general in regards to being on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and other social media platforms. What made you guys decide? I know, CLOWNIE, you don't really do TikTok or YouTube that much, but you do post on Facebook and everything like that.
I do Facebook,
yeah.
I do YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm not dancing. Nobody wants to see me jiggle off of TikTok.
That's fair.
And Instagram is there because somebody sent me a message and I have to go ahead and get it.
So I just want to talk a little bit why you guys got into it, how what inspired you guys to get into it, and what was your overall approach and philosophy regarding that. And I guess we can start with Al and just kind of go back down.
So for me, at first, it's like obviously being able to share what you're making, because this is cool, and especially at that point, because I figure I'm going to try to sell them. Well, if people don't know what you make, how are people going to buy anything you make? You just sit there and it doesn't happen. But then from that point forward, it's amazing how much inspiration you get from other people posting about what they build. At the same time, when I post pictures of it and then comments and feedback I get from so many people, a lot of it's the same, and you get a lot of like, this is great, this is thank you. But it's amazing also how much feedback actually helps you inspire you to different ideas, different approaches to build more and different things. And for me, obviously, I really should do more YouTube videos, but I suck at editing, which is why I don't, and I'll figure that out soon, I promise. But anyways, pictures of what I build, because at the same time, I love it when people come up to you and say, hey man, I saw you built this long shot and you did this barrel, I tried it and this is what I built. Hey, this is great, I saw this and it inspired me. So for me now, it's become more of like a pay it forward. If you want to see the inspiration and you want to be inspired and see how to make cool things, then you put it out there for others to do it, and you're helping feed the ecosystem that is like this whole community. So what I tell people, and I said, what should I do? I said, honestly, like you can obviously create like a character or create like an alter ego or personality depending on how you're wired. But ultimately, I think if you really want to be able to create content, get positive reactions and be able to grow, just be real. Just be who you are, don't be false. It's just like in regular life. When you're just real and honest and lay down, it's amazing. Other people will follow you, will see what you want to make, they'll respond to you, but at the same time also, it is just a complete positive loop. Now, side note, there will always be a negative comment. But just because of 200 comments, 180 were positive and 4 were people that were horrible, don't listen to the 4 horrible. Guess what? It's percentages. So those 4 have no idea what they're talking about. They're probably miserable in life, and they should go cry in a corner because obviously go see a therapist because you need to fix yourself, and I don't have time for you. How do you feel about that, Al? But the point being is, just be positive, and honestly in your content, just be real, and just be proud of it. And don't always be haters, whatever. You're not posting it just so some guy you don't know can sit there and say, oh my God, you're the best. Thanks. I'm posting because I want to, because I like it, and I hope it brings you joy. That. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Definitely don't. If you do start doing videos or you start doing anything, bit of advice I would have that I don't follow: don't engage with troll people. Oh man, I've written some long comments, and then well, just on a righteous crusade of like, how can you say such a thing? And then I delete it because it's just never worth it. Then you just worry about how you come across. Yeah, I got really distracted by that. Comments on things are tough. What got me into doing videos? I was running a bunch of, because my collection kind of got to this weird critical mass where I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all this stuff? And I started running a few parties, and that was pretty fun, and I like the idea of getting out there with people who had a bunch of Nerf but had never played anything structured really. Like they just kind of like if you've ever played Nerf with a bunch of kids, it's like, they start reloading and it's like, oh, you can't get me, I'm reloading. I'm like, incorrect, sir. That is when I will take the most joy in hitting you with all of the darts. So I thought that was really fun, and that really resonated with kids too. Like, it was fun. But then COVID kind of locked down again harder, and I'm like, I'm not really comfortable doing parties. That's kind of a pain right now. And I started doing some YouTube stuff, and I really want to keep it simple. I do, as a job, I'm a graphic designer, photographer, marketing guy, I guess. But like all of my YouTube stuff is all iMovie. All my shorts are on my phone. I just wanted to keep it really, really simple so that if I wanted to do something, it wasn't some massive effort. Because it is kind of important if you want to do a channel and you want to grow. If growing is something you want to do, frequency is definitely important. So not making it too hard for yourself is definitely, something you don't want to do. And I think what you said too, Al, about being authentic is good. Like don't go chasing review. Like I was like, oh, this one's going to be a good one. People will want to see this. Like, do stuff you want to do. My most viewed video on YouTube is the Nerf dog treat launcher, and like I've done so many videos where I'm like, ooh, this one's really good, I think. And like, well, 200 people thought so. But that Nerf tree launcher, boy, they sure like my dog. My dog is a better YouTuber than me. But I don't know. But YouTube was fun. I also liked about YouTube, honestly, another reason I did is because I am kind of remote. I'm far away from a lot of the hobby centers of people. And YouTube was a really great way for people commenting. Like, there's been a few people here today that I've met, and I'm like, what's your YouTube name? And they've said, and I recognize it. We've had conversations. We've had chats, and a lot of times if people are asking questions or help on a build, YouTube doesn't have a great way for back and forth, and I'll tell them, send me a note on Instagram. And I've had some chats and like help people figure out some stuff, or they've wanted to show something they've built. So it really is, it's good for community, like good for being part of the community that way too, and getting to know, like I really did use it for a method to get to know people too, because I feel like if I didn't have a YouTube channel, it'd be harder to get to know people, because I'd just be at least showing up the way, like having the channel, people are like, oh, you, like, I know something about you. So it's a good icebreaker to be like, oh, I have some idea of what you're doing. So that was a big thing. Oh, and free stuff is fun. free stuff is also cool. I'm not immune to that. I'm not independently wealthy. I have lots of debt. So getting things for free is cool.
Please make all your checks payable to Anthony.
Yeah, and that's a tricky thing too, because then that's a whole other thing. Because then you get free stuff, and it's like how, like, you even if you get free stuff, always remember, if you get something for free, you can be polite and honest at the same time. Like, you don't have to. I don't know. Like, I've definitely been sent stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm always so happy when it's great. Like the unicorn, I got a unicorn. I'm like, I really like this, and that makes me happy. I've gotten other stuff to review where I'm like, wow, I hate this. Well, let's have a constructive, a polite but real conversation about it. Because remember, just because someone's giving you a free thing, your time is worth a lot. So like a free thing is great and it's appreciated, but it doesn't. You're under no obligation to not tell the truth about the thing. You're far better off, and and I've had companies that have given not great reviews on things that have sent me other things to review. Generally, the companies know where their weaker products are too, and they generally appreciate the attention and the feedback, and just more awareness is good. So I forget what the question was, so I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, it is cool to see like people come up and like do the same kind of things that you did. I created a blaster. It's kind of like pieced together for War, and then you get like people that be like, "Cool, look, I made this, I made that," and then all of a sudden, then you start realizing theirs works a lot better than yours because you screwed yours up and theirs is working good.
You break that.
Yeah, then it's like you get kind of
not on my watch, kid.
It's like, well, what did you do with that? Because it's working. Mine doesn't, no matter how many darts I put through it. But I got into doing YouTube because of my buddy Griever. If you guys don't know who Griever, it's Griever 2112. Oh God, he's gonna shoot me.
Lionheart.
Yeah, Lionheart Custom. Thank you. Yeah, I met him at a Nerf war in Brunswick, Jersey. Like immediately just gravitated towards him. I think I was staying in his house before his wife was like. His wife didn't even know who I was or anything about me. Literally, just like, here's this random person I brought home. He doesn't, he's not like. You get that weird thing when you walk into somebody's house and like the wife look at you and they got two young kids. They get that kind of like. Keep them away. Like we all like, what the? Wait a minute. Like, is he okay or is he not? Like he's a friend of mine. He's a friend of my husband's, but like I know my husband. He's just not always the best judge. Oh well. The best advice I can give anybody about doing pen. And no, not you. I need it for you. Is just do it because you like it. I've always said that when this isn't fun anymore, I will just disappear. That'll be it. There'll be no explanations, no long-term, I got it, so I'm at my fans. No, there'll be none of that. It'll just be videos will maybe up, it may be taken down. Everything will just disappear because it won't be fun anymore. And that's if you're going to do it, just have fun. I mean, that's why we do this, because it's fun. We can't. We're all basically adults playing with. Somebody once asked me what the Nerf hobby meant to me, and after a lot of really nice, heartfelt things, it came my turn to answer, and it was people twice their age, people using toys. For people half their age, shooting kids half their age was my explanation of what makes this hobby great. Because everyone was just having fun. And yeah, you can do a persona, you can do thing, but remember, you're probably not going to be cool. You're probably not going to be Drac. You're going to be you. And if you stay being you, you'll get the people that want to subscribe to you. You don't have to go out and fish for them. I mean, like everybody up here, up here like me and my buddy Griever, I subscribe to a lot of what you could consider cult people, which is the cult people like that. It's like everybody knows who they are, but like, they don't have anywhere near 1,000 subs, but they build amazing stuff. And they're just so proud of the stuff that they do that they put it up there. And the only other advice I could give you is, for the love of God, please spend a little time putting your camera, if you're going to do it, at an angle that doesn't go right up your freaking nose. I love all you kids making videos, don't get me wrong, but put it on a book or something. It's just right up there. Spend like a hot second to look in the camera and be like, no, I got to raise it just a little bit. Because the setup will make a little bit of a difference other than that. And learn how to clickbait your thumbnails. That always seems like
Tripod's a good point too, and I'll just add really, really quick, because I did get a lot of people asking me when I started doing stuff what I use for gear. And if you have a semi-recent iPhone, you can kind of just use that for everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it will be good enough. I use iPhone audio, I use iPhone for camera, and I have access to pro gear for just from work, but I didn't want it to be work. You can do most stuff with a phone. Invest in a tripod, ask for a tripod for Christmas. A tripod is that's a good point. Like, have a good angle. Look at a YouTuber you like, and frame yourself like that.
Oh yeah, that's something like that's a great. Just to see how they do it. I mean, like for the longest time, my setup was a desk lamp I got from the Goodwill the Goodwill salvage store, which is like everything by the pound, with a lampshade on that thing, and then a piece of paper over front of it to keep the glare down. So that they point it this way, they just made a large diffuser. Now I was lucky enough to thrift a bunch of light rings, which are causing a whole new issue because I'm set up with junk, and now I don't know how to set it up properly.
So real quick, I know Josh is asking us to wrap this up, but my approach is a little bit different. I'm actually, by day, my full-time job is a videographer, photographer, and I also come from a competitive sports background. I played college basketball. So when I first started doing videos, I just kind of wanted to do gameplay POV footage, and kind of show off how good or bad I was at playing, and then quickly realized no one cares. And then that kind of evolved into me making highlight videos of actual events that I attend. And I think people really enjoy seeing people in the hobby community out at events, what blasters they're using, and the fun that they're having at those events. So that's kind of been my approach for it going forward at this point. But I just want to quickly, before we wrap up, I just want to invite any questions from the audience. If anyone has any questions for anyone here, don't be shy. Yes.
Are you guys on Discord?
Are you guys on Discord?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a Discord, and I'm like me and like one other person. That's it.
I'm on Discord as one real Nerf guy. I'm not super active on Discord. I join too many Discords. I always tell people if like someone has a question on something like Instagram or I generally prefer just having conversations with people, and I know that drives some people nuts because they'll like I sent you some files on Discord, or they'll ask me something on Discord and I'm writing them back on like Instagram and they're like, you're a jerk. But yeah, I'm there.
Yes, I have Discord. I'm still figuring it out.
Youngest and hippest.
Yeah, and I think at least Al and I are on the Maryland Foam Alliance Discord, and we pop in our Reddit Discord and UMBC's Discord and Fun and a lot of the Discords that probably some of you are part of. So any last piece of advice you would like to give people just in general here, and for our audience at home that probably fast forward?
Buy my stuff. I'm kidding. Be yourself, man. Be yourself.
Buy Al stuff. Keep your stuff short. You don't have to do shorts. I know I'm more biased towards shorts than a lot of you. I think there's a place for both. I like doing long form stuff if I feel like there's a good reason. If I feel like I can give the same amount about my opinion of a blaster in 60 seconds as I can in 7 minutes, that is by far what I would rather do, because my completion rate of most videos, including my own, is not 100%. Short. People have short attention spans. We've all broken ourselves with TikTok and YouTube and social media, and we're not fixing ourselves, so roll into it and keep it short. Long form is great, but like, unless it's a mod video where my only thing I'll say for a mod video, don't skip around too much. Put in lots of chapter markers. Leave all your stuff, like, not all your stuff, but like, Don't be afraid to leave your mistakes. Don't be afraid to do an hour-long mod guide. People don't have to watch it all. They'll skip to what they need. But generally, keep it short. Think about not what do you want people to watch. Think about what are people likely to watch. If you care about views. If you don't, then don't. Man, just do what makes you happy. I have videos for sure that I'm like, yeah, I don't care. 20 minutes long, me talking about something nobody cares about. I did a barricade mod guide last year. Nobody cared. I didn't care. I had fun doing it because a barricade was new to me.
I already did.
Oh, great.
Don't be afraid to break your blasters.
Yes.
If you run a mod and you're going to break them, just go ahead and break them. Best case scenario, you have some shell or a story. Like, we all have the blasters that we like that reduced us to either tears or, in my case, literally ice-picking rage at the blaster, just jamming holes in it with a screwdriver because I'll never open up another. Oh God, I can forget that. Cyclone shock ever again.
Thrifting helps too. Then you don't have to be scared.
Thrifting helps. And
you got just $2.
Yeah, just do your thing. Keep your nose out of your video. Nobody wants to see that. And
don't be afraid to fail. That's how you learn. Yeah. Don't think my first blaster was beautiful. My lord, the failures I had, and still do.
He still sold it.
Actually, I think I put it out anyways. Yeah, don't be afraid to fail.
If you're interested in creating content, just in general, just find something that you're passionate about. And it doesn't just have to be related to Nerf or foam flinging, but find something that you enjoy and that you want to share and do it. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, and people will appreciate that. And whether you do it for views or just for fun, it's just the fact that you're doing it, getting out there, and having a fun time and sharing your passion for what you love. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys. We'll be starting our next panel shortly if you guys like to join us. But thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Woo! Thank you. You started the slow clap. I liked it.
Dirt sweep!